Hi guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Tali. Today I will be showing you guys my March wrap-up. For the month of March, I read a total of 10 books. I read 4 paperback books. I listened to 3 audiobooks and I read 3 books on Scribd. This is like very surprising for me because every month I'm only able to read around 5 to 6 books because of work and stuff. But this month, with the coronavirus going on and having to socially distance ourselves and stay at home, I am so happy that I was able to do a lot of reading, and I'm very happy with all the books that I was able to read. There were a couple of 5-star ratings and a couple of 3-star ratings and 4-star ratings. One of my favorite from this month was the Infernal Devices series. I fell in love with these series, and I'm actually reading Clockwork Princess right now for the magical readathon, and it's already great. For the month of March, I read the first 2 books of the Infernal Devices series, which was Clockwork Angel was the first one, and this one was obviously a 5-star rating. I started reading this book not having like high expectations for it because I've never read any of the Shadowhunters books, and I picked this up at Target not knowing what the heck was I about to begin reading and not knowing that I was going to fall in love with the series. So Clockwork Angel, if you have not heard of it or read about it, it's about the main character, Tessa Gray. She crosses oceans to find her brother in England, but then she's kidnapped by the Dark Sisters, and they are members of the Pandemonium Club. When she is kidnapped, she finds out that she has a power that she did not know she had, and that is she is a shapeshifter. So she is able to transform into other people with a valuable item from them. And another character who is the Magister, he wants to capture Tessa, and he's the one that runs the club, the Pandemonium Club, and claim Tessa's power as his own. But then she takes refuge with the Shadowhunters, who are Will, Jem, Charlotte, Henry, and Jessamine. She has to decide between saving her brother or saving her new friends, who are the Shadowhunters. And there is romance in this book, so if you are into romance and fantasy, this book is for you. The love triangle is absolutely beautiful in this book between Tessa, Jem, and Will, and it just makes you hungry for more and more of the series. I also read the second book of the Infernal Devices series, which is Clockwork Prince. That one was another 5-star rating. I read it on Scribd, and it took me about 1 to 3 days to finish because it was that good. Clockwork Prince, it has 600 pages. This was released on December 6, 2011. So it's just about true love and Tessa finding out secrets about Mortmain. They then encounter a clockwork demon, and then they figure out that the Magister knows their every move, and he's the one that has betrayed them all. The next book that I read was The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This took me about 2 weeks to finish because it is very long. It has around 760 pages. I started out reading this book having really high expectations because a lot of people have said that they really enjoyed it. But in my opinion, I gave this a rating of 3 out of 5 because of how really slow-paced it was. The beginning of the story, it was very interesting. So The Goldfinch is about a 13-year-old boy who survives an accident that killed his mother. So he is taken to a wealthy family in Park Avenue. He is tormented by the longing of his mother. He clings to the one thing that reminds him of her, which is a painting of the Goldfinch. Towards the end, I feel like the author just included a lot of information that was very boring, and I feel like I just zoomed through it and was not really paying attention to the extra information she put in. But towards the end, I feel like it got more interesting, and I really wanted to know what happened to Theodore, who is the main character, and the painting that he captured during the accident. At first, the friend that he met in Vegas, I thought that he was a really bad influence for him, but then towards the end he becomes one of my favorite characters because of what he tells Theodore of life in general and how Theodore helped him when he didn't have anyone and he didn't have like any money because his father was a drunk. There are many topics in this book like drugs, alcoholism, addiction, and grief. I rated this a 3 out of 5. It was a very good story. Just towards the middle, there were some parts that were kind of boring for me, but I would really love to reread the story and actually pay attention to it more. Another 5-star rating that I read for March was A Man Called OVA, and this one is by Frederik Backman. I have seen a lot of stories from this author, and this one has 337 pages. So if you're looking for a really fast-paced, sad, funny story, this one's for you. This one's a really good story. OVA, he's a grumpy old man, very strict routines every time that he wakes up in the morning, and it just makes you want to read more and more of the story and know exactly why Ovi is the person he is. People around him think that he's bitter, but then he meets one of his new neighbors who are very chatty when accidentally flattening Ovia's mailbox, and it's just an exploration of first impressions towards other people, and it's just a reminder that life is sweeter when it's shared with other people. Highly recommend if you have not read this story. It was a 5 out of 5 and extremely funny and fun to read. I did listen to 2 audiobooks, which are self-help and lifestyle kind of audiobooks, and the first one was How to Make Friends and Influence People, and this one was more like helping you be more friendly and making friends. I am an introvert and I really don't know how to talk to people. This one was a really good book for me. It has 324 pages and it is a psychology and cognitive science book. It has just different stories of different people who have experienced life in general. It includes 6 ways to make people like you, 12 ways to win people to your way of thinking, and 9 ways to change people without arousing resentment. And he just includes different ways that people have been successful in their business, in their personal lives. The next audiobook that I listened to was 10% Happier, How I Tamed the Voice in My Head, Reduced Stress Without Losing My Edge, and Found Self-Help That Actually Works. So this one was 7 hours and 50 minutes and it was released on March 11, 2014. It's about Dan Harris, who is the author of the story. He suffered an on-air panic attack. He just takes us through his journey, understanding happiness and how to get that happiness. There's a lot of empathy and humor in this story, and he just takes us through spirituality, and he just tells us of how he discovered true happiness. And after having that panic attack on air, he decided that he wanted to change because of the things that were occurring to him. It was because of the voice in his head, and because of this voice in his head, it made him do stupid decisions. Harris says that he stumbled upon something that we can do to change that, and one of those things is meditation. So towards the ending of the book, he mentions meditation a lot and how it helped him from lower his blood pressure to essentially rewire his brain. It's a book that really changes your life and sees life into a different perspective. So I rated that a 5 out of 5 just because it was really funny. It kept me entertained at all times. Okay, another book that I read on script, it was All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Brynn Greenwood. This is such a controversial book because of all the reviews that I read, and it is a controversial topic because it is between an 8-year-old and a 25-year-old falling in love. And obviously they start out being friends, which turns into a romance. And just the topic made me bring my rating down to a 3 out of 5. Other than that, I think Brynn Greenwood, she's a very good writer and she's very descriptive towards all the characters. And I really love the way that she included everyone's point of view and were involved in their love. I had to stop the book like many times because of how disturbing it was in every chapter, especially from the beginning of the story. Waby, who is the main character, she did not have an older mentor growing up. Her mom was an alcoholic and her dad was he was a dealer. So she had to grow up very early. As an 8-year-old, she had to clean and cook for herself. She had to tend for her brother, and she did not talk. I feel like she was emotionally disturbed because of her mother. Her mother influenced her the wrong way. I don't really want to state so much about it, but yeah, I finished reading that one. Okay, so the next book, I listened to it on the audiobook, and is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but it was 8 hours and 43 minutes. It was released on February 5th, 2019, so it is 1 year old. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is a mystery, thriller, and crime. It is a mystery because they're trying to find out why the woman is not speaking after she killed her husband. And if you guys have not read the story, you guys have to, because the ending has a freaking plot twist that it left me kind of like shocked, and I did not even think that it was going to end like that. So she is a painter, and she is convicted of killing her husband. After being convicted of murder, she refuses to talk after his death. The psychotherapist is determined to hear the side of her story. He has waited a long time for an opportunity to work with Olivia, and he is determined to make her talk and unravel the mystery of why she shot her husband. And it's just a book that makes you want to read more of it, to reveal the truth, and a very fast-paced book. Really enjoyed listening to it on the audiobook, and I rated it a 5 out of 5. Next audiobook that I listened to was The Night Olivia Fell by Christina McDonald. And this one was 10 hours and 45 minutes. I finished it in 1 day, surprisingly. It is about a mother who is trying to discover the truth of why her daughter became brain dead and pregnant after she was sleeping, and she gets a phone call that her daughter had an accident and she is now in the hospital. The police unexpectedly rule Olivia's fall an accident. Abby, who is her mother, she decides to find out what really happened that night. So it is very mysterious because we don't know if Olivia's death was an accident or if she did it herself. It is a very good read, a very fast-paced book if you are into thrillers. I already saw the ending coming, so that's why I rated it a 4 out of 5. It's not a book that is very shocking because towards the ending it gives us a clue of who's the person that actually killed her. Last book that I read was The Magician's Nephew, which is the first book of the Chronicles of Narnia. That one was very fast. I finished it in 1 night, in 5 hours. So I really enjoyed reading it. It's a very fast pace. It's a very fun book. The author makes you feel like you are in the book and he's actually writing the story for you. Those are all the books that I read for March. I'm hoping that I am able to read even more this month of April, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have read any of the books that I mentioned, go ahead and comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on them, and I will talk to you guys later.